Hello, everyone, and welcome to the stream. We are back for another Seregen one-shot. This time, we have none other but... Go ahead and introduce yourself.
I'm Atomic, and I play Zippo, the Cobalt Sorcerer.
That's right. So, um, this session will, like Roger's session, take place directly after the events of what will happen at the beginning of our next session on Tuesday, the 17th. So, or 18th, excuse me. So ultimately, sorry for the timey-wiminess of this, folks, but it'll all be clear as to why we're doing this in advance. It's so that it's a kind of a clean transition from the beginning of next session into the battle on Tuesday. So this is kind of allowing us to front load some side quests before we get to the NPC that says, "Are you sure you don't have anything left to do before you continue? There's no turning back after this," that you see in video games a lot. So thank you for bearing with us in this. And this kind of one-shot format allows us to tie up loose ends with characters and then give each character kind of one last thing that they can do to affect the final battle in their own way, or the ending of the campaign in some aspects. So welcome in, Brent. Thanks for being here, and I'm looking forward to this session. We've kind of discussed some things, but ultimately the biggest thing to know is that on Tuesday, the plan that has been put in place may not be the exact way it goes down, and all will become clear when Ulrich reveals what happened in his one shot on Tuesday. But ultimately, most of the interactions with the characters that you will have, we will just, if they ask what you're doing tomorrow or what's going on tomorrow, we can just say that you filled them in on it and just hand wave it that way. Since you, out of character, don't know this yet, but your character in this unique situation does. Is that fair?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So you have just teleported back with Carl and the gang, and it is at this point getting to evening, so the army is kind of getting ready for it to begin moving out tomorrow. So ultimately, from there, you're left to your own devices. As you know, the group kind of splits off to do their tasks that they would like to do in this time. So Yarvik kind of heads back to the tavern and says, "Bye, guys." Ulrich goes and does his thing. Roger does his thing. Same with Belzian. So you were kind of left to do what you'd like to do.
Okay. Just if I'm remembering correctly, when I last tried to speak to the elementals, did I go south or north of the wall?
Of the wall, did you
Or
say?
south or north of the lake, sorry.
You were north of Licht, or along Licht itself, but you were mostly north when you were kind of trying things out.
Okay. Okay.
I think presumably because originally when you did the ferry ride across in the forests to the north of Licht, there were some water elementals there, if you recall. So I think you're trying to see if any of them were close by on that side.
Yeah. Remembering that Jewel kind of got floated, I would like to try it kind of like probably positionally close to where the army is located, where we made the makeshift bridge.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe like Zippo would probably go through there to go down that way. That way, if he did run into like I don't know 7 demons, he could run back to the army.
Sure. Okay, so you're staying close by, but you're heading downriver from here. So you're gonna how far do you think you'd walk? Like within, like you can see the army in the distance. You don't want to put them out of the horizon, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd like it to the point where I could have Brunhild realistically book it back fast enough to either get me help or we get away.
Got it.
So probably I'm gonna say maybe like 120 feet.
Okay. And are you riding Brunhild or having her walk with you?
I'd say I'm just walking with her, kind of
Okay.
petting on her.
Yeah. So you are on, I believe, if what you say stands true, you are on uh, the guild side of the river or the army side of the river. Did you cross over the boat bridge, or are you staying on the army
Yeah,
side?
I'd
Okay.
have crossed over that boat bridge.
Okay. So you cross over the boat bridge, kind of make your way through the planking that goes from one boat to the next, get to the other side, and walk along the river. Are you close by the river, or kind of giving it a wide berth till you want to kind of get into it?
I would say he'd be close
Hmm.
because his thought process would be because he'd have the gym out while walking, and like periodically he would kind of like dip his head in, say like holler for him in Aquan, and then just keep walking,
Okay.
hoping it attracts their attention.
So just to give me a full detailing, you're taking the gemstone that Atlan gave you, one of the 6 gems that each of the party members has, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And you're dipping your head in the water while holding it and yelling out in Aquan.
Yeah. Actually, I have 5 of them.
Oh, you have 5 of them?
Yeah.
Okay. You did. You gave. So he gave 5 to you, or yeah, 5 of them, right?
Yeah, he gave 5 to me to spread out amongst the party, but I didn't.
You didn't. Got it. You're holding
No,
all.
I kept them.
Got it.
Yeah.
All right. So you're holding all 5 or
Yeah.
just one?
I would say I would hold just one at the start.
Mhm.
If no response is immediately coming, I would periodically grab another one out of the bag, thinking they get stronger the more I hold.
Sure. I mean, you did. You were able to contact some water elementals before along the river, right? So
Yeah.
what's the harm? All right.
Yeah.
So, are you rolling any checks to do any of this, or are you just kind of yelling into the river?
Uh, uh, the only thing I could think of would be either perception or persuasion.
Well, perception would
I,
be if you're hearing something.
yeah.
So, yeah, maybe persuasion. Let me do a look see too. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think persuasion would be for something that like you can see and interact with. This is more like it wouldn't be animal handling, but maybe it would be a nature check.
Okay. Okay.
Okay. And you said you're like what, about 120 feet from where the army's stationed?
Yeah.
Okay. So you scream into the water. What are you yelling exactly?
Zippo would be yelling, yes, this is Zippo, best friend to Atlan, Water Elemental King. I would like to request to meet with some of you to possibly get some help in fighting this really dumb, stupid demon that is trying to not let us all live here and be awesome.
Give me a perception check.
Is it still bright outside or no?
Nope.
Yeah. 15.
Okay. It seems like your yells have disturbed some of the wildlife in the water, as some fish kind of swim away from you.
Okay. Uh, suppose it's going to instead of holding on to some of the gems, he's going to drop 3 of them into the water.
Okay, like at your feet.
Yeah, he just kind of like lets them go into the water,
Okay.
and then he's going to kind of just sit there and move them around in the water to try to see if he can hopefully maybe attract some attention that way.
Okay. So you're like getting fully in the water and kind of submerging them and like moving them around and things like that.
Yeah.
So instead of like dipping your head in, like kind of going upside down and yelling, coming up for air, you're kind of getting in the water itself and submerging.
Yeah.
Okay. Got it.
And then once he's in there for a minute, if nothing happens, then he'll leave the gems in there and start walking back.
Okay. So you're moving the gems around and whatnot, and they kind of are just drifting around in the water in your hands and things like that. And then you kind of let them settle for a bit, and you're waiting and you're waiting and you're waiting. And the 3 gems that you are in the water seem to suddenly pick up on the current a bit. Like they don't settle to the bottom, and instead they start drifting downriver.
Okay. Yeah, Zippo will watch them drift.
Okay. So it's kind of hard to place where they go in the current, because they're sapphires, they're blue,
Yeah.
and you kind of quickly, the kicked up dirt on the floor of the river, amongst other things, you kind of lose sight of the 3 of them. Probably about 10 feet down. And by 10 feet down, I mean 10 feet further downriver.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, Zippo will come back out of the water and kind of take his dagger and he will carve into the ground next to where he let the gems go at. He'll carve a message that says Atlan / any other water elementals. Zippo is here. If you read this and want to help, come to Licht before tomorrow. And then he'll kind of just, after inscribing that, he'll take one more of the gems, so he has one left, and kind of dig it into the ground at the end of it as the period.
Okay. And you're carving this into the earth, correct?
Yeah.
In which language?
I don't know if Aquan has a.
It doesn't.
Written language, so Zippo doesn't know what other languages Atlan or water elementals can speak. So he's going to just write it in common.
Okay. You'll know this about the primordial languages. All 4 of them are not written languages. They're only spoken.
Yeah.
I'm sure somebody could figure out how to write it, but it's not done by those who speak it, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Actually, can Zippo write it in Draconic instead of Common? I feel like that'd be more him than Common. He doesn't use Common as much as he does Draconic.
Yeah, you can do it in Draconic. It takes a bit longer for you to write. You also don't have a very good canvas, right? The bank isn't really like you get finished the sentence and you look at your handiwork and you can't even really make sense of it, and you know what you just wrote, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So like
Zippo is absolutely confident that Atlan is smarter than him and will understand every word of it.
Okay.
He will then take the last gem and kind of put it back in his pocket and then run back to Brunhild.
Okay.
Periodically, he's still following the river, and ever so often he is like looking at it to see if maybe one of them's just creeping up behind him.
So you are walking alongside the river, not in the river at this point, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I would say alongside the river.
Okay.
And as he's doing so, he's spent on Brunhild talking about the necklace and kind of reminiscing about his orb, contemplating, it doesn't really have much battle effectiveness, and that's what he's about to go into.
So say that one more time.
As he's walking along the river, Zippo will kind of like after like checking for a minute, he'll pull out his orb and kind of like just hold on to it, contemplating the fact that yes, it is cool, but no, it doesn't have any murder ability. And he kind of fighting demons, he might need to have more murder ability.
Yeah.
You will remember that Carl was pretty interested in it, and that Carl does have murder ability items. Or at least the last 2 times he talked to him, he did. And when he starts walking, when he gets back to like where the soldier camp is, he will kind of like look over all the soldiers. It's kind of like looking for the most, what he assumes to be magically inclined other than Carl. Because he assumes, since they know magic, they'll be able to speak Aquan, so that if an elemental does run up, they can come tell him.
Okay. Got it.
Yeah, kind of like, as the soldiers are all getting ready, they pretty much just get like a toddler running around. Hey, if the elemental comes, you gotta come tell me. Okay, that's my friend. You let me know. And then he does that for every soldier, even though some of them probably heard him say it to the one before them, because they're probably right next to each other. He does it to every soldier that he even slightly thinks might have some kind of magic.
Yeah,
which should be all of them.
Some of them say, "Yeah, kid, I know, I got it," or they'll repeat it back to you before you even say it. Do you still say it to them anyway, or do you say, "Yep, you got it," and then keep going?
Yeah, I'll repeat it back to them anyway.
All right. All right, and you're making your way back to Carl's this way?
Yeah, all the way from the start of the camp to Carl's, I'm doing this.
Okay. So several hours later, you have spread the word that any water elementals should be sent your way, or you notified about.
Yeah, about like halfway through, it switched from water elementals to all elementals.
Got it. Okay. Yeah, so I would say about 4 hours later, you make it to Carl's. The wagon is shut for the evening. Like the door is shut. He's not out and about. As you got closer and closer to Carl's and the night kind of burned on, there were less and less people up and awake, and like some people tending fires or whatnot. But so it became less and less people to tell. And I assume you didn't go into people's tents and wake them up to tell them.
No, just the ones that were awake.
Yeah. So that's what got you to Carl's faster than 8 hours later. Um, there's a lot of, I mean, there's 3,000 people in this army, right? So,
Yeah.
but one thing I will let you know about the army itself is that there is a wide variety of different types of folk in this army, young and old, elven and human, demi-humans galore. Um, there's lizard folk, there's cat folk, there's there's all kinds of different people, turtles, you name it, right? So there seems to be a quite a menagerie of people representing the folks of Seregen here in this army. And some are less patient with you than others, but ultimately you do see kind of a nice variety. So
Okay.
you get at Carl's wagon. What do you do?
Yeah, I knock on the door and I go, "Hey, Carl, it's me."
Um, After a few moments, Carl answers. He doesn't look like he was sleeping at all. In fact, he looks very much awake, and he says, "Ah, my boy, come in."
I walk in, holding the orb,
Okay.
and as Zippo walks in, I go, "Well, Carl, this orb doesn't have a lot of kill people ability, and I feel like where we're going, I might need that. So I was just wondering if maybe you had something with more kill people ability that you might be willing to trade me for the orb,
Hmm.
or control people ability, especially demons."
Well, demons are not quite people. I find a harder time controlling those types of creatures than you would your normal. But I don't tend to dabble in the art of control myself. Never have. But yes, I could see this not getting packing the punch that you're looking for. Well, but tell me first, what kind of punches are you already accustomed to? I am curious. What is in your menagerie of spells?
Zippo will go through and list all of his spells to Carl.
Okay.
He will put special emphasis on Psychic Lance because he loves that spell.
Yes, he does.
He will also put pretty great emphasis on Disintegrate now that he's got it because he loves that as well.
Have you used disintegrate yet?
Yeah, that's how I killed the demon last time.
Right. That's right. Yeah, it turned into dust. That was your first time getting to use it, right?
Yeah, he after he used it for the first time, he was like, "Oh yeah."
You haven't used the fireball yet, have you?
I don't think I have actually, which is pretty
Yeah.
funny.
Well, you'll probably have some opportunities to do so soon. But yeah, so let me see this ball. And he takes a look at it, and um, he snaps his fingers as if he had an idea, and he walks it over to his workbench slash counter, and kind of places it gingerly on a cloth that's there. He kind of bundles it around so it doesn't roll away, and kind of sorts through some drawers. Most of the drawers contain different various types of liquids and things like that. After a moment, he kind of settles on a, a clear mixture that seems to have kind of a lightish blue tinge to it, and he takes it out. There seems to be a little dropper inside, and he squeezes the top, takes it, and he drops a drop of the liquid onto the orb itself, and then gingerly puts it back in, screws it up, and places it back in the jar. He takes a rag and he begins polishing the orb, cleaning it of smudges and the like. You've been holding on to it for quite some time. in on the field. So there's handprints on it galore, things like that. And he begins kind of cleaning it off so he can kind of inspect it a bit more closely. And once he cleans it off, he does something kind of counterintuitive, but I don't know how you'll take it, so I'll let you kind of let me know. But he picks up the ball again and he licks the ball. Like he just hefts it in both hands and just runs his tongue along it and begins going like he's tasting for something.
Yeah, Zippo's kind of watching and thinking to himself, I didn't think to lick it.
You do notice that his wizened hair seems to kind of be pushed back if there was no wind on it, or as if there was some wind on it. And then he goes, "True sight."
Zippo say true sight?
Yeah, you've used this to scry, correct?
Yeah, I get to see a lot of weird things. I got to see some people last time, when I showed you the picture. That was pretty cool. No space dragons, though, which makes me kind of sad.
When you are looking on the other side, you have the ability to have true sight when you see through it. So, what you are seeing there, nothing can be obscured from you. It is possible that some of the things you have seen while there were not things you would have seen normally.
Oh. That's pretty cool.
Now, of course, it does have a range. I'm not quite sure what it is, but it also seems that unlike some orbs that you might find, this one is paired to a specific location. So I assume that ball that you're looking through on the other side is also paired to this one. So if somebody were to hold that one, they might be able to true see around you as well.
Oh. That sounds like it wouldn't be great if a non-space dragon got it.
Yes. Tell me, anything else that you were able to do with it in your time?
All I got to see was that basically all I got to see was, whatever was around it at the current moment. One of the times I got to see what looked to be like massive rocks, but inside the rocks it looked like a spot where one of my old patron used to let me go stay and keep stuff. Looked like someone was storing stuff in that rock in there or out there, and then a couple of the rocks collided and items went everywhere.
Items, you say?
Yeah, it was like they were flying by. I tried to grab them, but I couldn't reach through the gym.
Yes, it doesn't work that way. This is not for traveling. Although, if you were able to study a location for quite some time and you had a spell of teleport, well, you could potentially go where it is and gather those items. But if you're describing the place that I think you are, I don't think it would be quite hospitable for you in your condition.
Yeah, every time I see other people, they always have these weird bubbles on their head.
Yes. I believe you are seeing into the recursive pocket. I would be most interested in acquiring this for study, of course. I would need to attune to it, and then I would be able to see, well, what is on the other side and confirm it for myself. But if it's the recursive pocket, that's the dimension where bags of storing and other such items that create pocket dimensions, well, that's where they appear for whatever reason.
Yeah, that makes sense because I couldn't never. I couldn't use it in my bag of boarding. Every time I'd go in there, it would cut the connection on it.
Interference of some sort, yeah. Um, and you said you just found this in the woods.
Yeah, there was a behir around it, and we killed the behir, and I took it for myself.
Hmm.
It was kind of laying in a crater, I think. That's why it's got that cool design, and Zippo will point out the spiky rocks on it.
Yeah, I did notice them. I believe you've mentioned these before that you think that it might have crashed into the Earth.
Yeah,
So presumably this might have at one point been in the recursive uh, plane as well.
yeah. I was really hoping when we found it, we'd find a creature that had it because it probably wasn't originally the behirs, but no luck.
A creature that had it. What do you mean?
I was just hoping, I assumed that a creature had it at some point.
Its former owner. I see.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I do know whenever I am using it and I speak, it glows. I learned that a couple of days ago.
Well, that is
Because it
interesting.
looked like it was in a bag or a chest of some kind, and I was speaking and I could kind of see the glow, and then that's when I saw the people with the bubble heads that were fighting, and it was kind of floating away, but none of them were responding to me. I assumed they couldn't hear me and they didn't pay enough attention to the light.
Could you hear them?
I don't think I did.
No, you couldn't.
Yeah, I just saw them. It was kind of like there was no sound at all there.
Yeah, so it seems that only one sense is of use with this orb. Sight. But sight is absolutely something worthwhile.
Yeah, yeah, but I just figure, you've got the teleport spell, you've got more researching ability than I do. I'm only good at two things: petting animals and killing. Um, you know, that doesn't do either for me since I can't speak to space dragons.
Quite. Well, so what are you looking for exactly?
Uh, Preferably, I would like something that would either give me an ability I didn't have before, or something that would help me, fight the demons more safely, or like I don't know, something with something I can use to kind of like a last stand effort. Like we're not winning this. I'm out of spell spots. Pop this baby. Everybody going out with me. Which may also be useful to shut the portal if we need someone to like some kind of powerful force to do so, and if my spells aren't strong enough.
I've got some good news for you, my friend.
Okay.
Crystal balls are quite pricey. Um, Trying to ascertain what this type of crystal ball would get you. Okay, I have it written out. So typically a crystal ball would net you about 40,000 gold.
Okay.
So if you're looking to trade, then I that would be if you're buying it. Of course, you're going to be selling it for a little bit less than that, probably more like 30,000 or so.
Yeah.
Depending on what you're looking for, if there's a specific item, um, you'll have quite a bit to select from because of that. Not everything for sure, but that'll
Yeah.
definitely help. So, like for example, a wand of fireballs, that's 40,000. So you wouldn't be able to afford that,
Gotcha. Okay.
and you already have fireball anyway. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
so I guess out of curiosity, did you have an item in mind that you were hoping for, or are you kind of keeping it up in the air? Um, you didn't really have anything in mind, just something.
I didn't have anything specifically in mind for Zippo because I was just kind of honestly, to be honest, I was really just not knowing what Carl had. I was going to make whatever work
Yeah,
for Zippo because I feel like as long as it's something he can use in battle, Zippo wouldn't have any kind of you know like oh no, not this type thoughts. Going by pricing, just out of curiosity, so I can maybe get an idea of items. With the pricing that I have, what would be the rarity of the items that I could buy?
well, the item that you're trading is a legendary item.
Oh, okay. That's, okay, that's pretty good.
Yeah,
Okay.
there are. He does have a lot of items. Anything that I have marked as infinity means that it is not able to be purchased. It can only be found. So, for example, the deck of many things you're not going to be able to get. It's
Okay.
that's only in a specific place in the world, and you have
I
not
got
found
you.
it. Same with things
I
like
got
Staff
you.
of the Magi or like a candle of invocation, a Freedy bottle. Right? Those are plot devices or things that are in places where you'd go on a quest for them. Right? Um,
Yeah.
so just keeping Vorpal Sword, same type of thing, right? So actually no, sorry, Staff of Magi is what I was thinking. Yeah. So just as a heads up there, like but I mean, feel free to kind of go balls to the wall if you want to like take a look at the Monster Man or the DMG and see if there's anything you'd like to talk about. We can absolutely take a look at some things. Um, let's kind of first talk about like so items that you have that you don't that are already using slots that you wouldn't be able to replace with things. So like for example, rings. You have one ring, so that you're using actively, but the other hand is not being used, right? You only have one ring.
Yeah. Yeah. I only
Um,
have one ring.
what about other equipment?
Um, the necklace will be the one for Brunhild.
Yep. So that'll take
Other
up that slot.
than
So you're not going to be able to get like a necklace, but like a hat or a cloak.
yeah, I think
Um,
hat, cloak, um, gloves or gauntlets, shoes, belt. That's about it because I do have that mithril half plate on.
yeah.
That's really armor set good, but other than that, I think that's the only empty spots I have, unless I pick like a weapon, which I don't think would really be much of a Zippo I area. He's not much of a. He tries not to be the one, fist fighting.
Yeah. So you're not looking for a weapon more than likely. You're looking for something
Yeah,
to
more
wear.
than likely, I'd say Zippo's looking for either a cloak, a ring, a belt, boots, or gauntlets.
Hmm.
Something he can equip that he doesn't have to worry about immediately, like tossing to the side if he needs both hands,
Okay.
or a hat or mask for his head. I forgot about that.
What about ion stones?
Let's see here. Ion stone. Okay. Yeah, those look pretty cool.
You could also potentially get a manual of some sort since you're going to be spending a couple days traveling. Um, manual of bodily health or gainful exercise or golems.
Golems sound interesting, but I don't know if I would I have enough time to make one and enough material.
So the manual of golems, this tome contains information and incantations necessary to make a particular type of golem. And I get to choose the type and basically to decipher and use the manual, you must be a spellcaster with at least 2 5th-level spell slots. A creature that can't use the manual golems and attempts to read it takes 66 psychic damage, so you don't have to worry about that. To create a golem, you must spend the time shown on the table, working without interruption. Yeah, so yeah, it would take 8 hours per day
Yeah.
at maximum. So like, yeah, and the time takes 30, 60, 100, 20. So yeah, no, not so much. But gainful exercise would get you +2 strength, and bodily health is +2 constitution. Um,
Let's see here.
Manual quickness of action gets you +2 dexterity. There's only manuals for, I believe, the physical attributes, not for the mental ones. There's a oil of etherealness, which allows a medium or smaller creature, along with their equipment, to become ethereal for 10 minutes. Or no, after 10 minutes you apply it, and it lasts for an hour.
Gotcha.
Let's see. So yeah, take a look at the ion stones. There's a few interesting things there that might be good for you.
Yeah, I was looking at the ones on here. The one that popped out immediately was greater absorption, but I don't know if that'd be in the price range.
I can check. So while this marbled lavender and green ellipsoid orbits your head, you can use a reaction to cancel a spell of 8th level or lower, cast by a creature you can see, and targeting only you. Once the stone has canceled 50 levels of spells, it burns out and turns dull gray, losing its magic. If you're targeted by a spell whose level is higher than the number of spell levels the stone has left, the stone cannot cancel it. Alright, so let me look at my Ion Stone list. He definitely has this one. Let's see, Absorption. This is Greater Absorption, not just Absorption. Greater Absorption, you can afford it's 20,000. You'd have 10,000 left.
Okay. Yeah, then if I could afford it, I would definitely go for that.
Okay. Um, so Ionstone is named after Ion, a god of knowledge and prophecy. So technically, the god of knowledge in our case is what's his face, Twain, I think, right? Let me just double check
Yeah.
that. No, Twain's god of magic, Darices. So it's a Darice stone or Daristone. Um, so yeah, basically, you use an action to toss one of these stones into the air, and the stone orbits your head at a distance of 1d3 feet and confers a benefit to you. Thereafter, another creature must use an action to grasp or net the stone to separate it from you, either by making a successful attack roll against an AC 24 or a successful DC 24 acrobatics check. You can use an action to seize and stow the stone, ending its effect. And the stone has an AC of 24, 10 hit points, and resistance to all types of damage. It's considered to be an object that is being worn while it orbits your head.
Okay, so it would take up the head slot.
Yes. Well, yeah, so it's being worn, yeah. Let me just double check that it would take a head slot, but yeah, feel free to keep thinking too.
Yeah, I got you.
They don't take up any slots, and they don't interfere with
Okay.
headgear, but it is treated as being worn by you. So that means that if you go invisible, so do the stones.
Gotcha. Okay. Okay, let's see here. So I have 10,000 left.
Dun, 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 dun. There's the Staff of Thunder and Lightning. Seems kind of appropriate with your build. So the Staff of Thunder and Lightning. I went too far. I'm in wands now. Here we go. Staff of Thunder and Lightning can be wielded as a magic quarterstaff that grants a +2 bonus to attack and damage rolls made with it. It also has the following additional properties. When one of these properties is used, it can't be used again until the next dawn. Lightning. When you hit with a melee attack using the staff, you can cause the target to take an extra 2d6 lightning damage. Or thunder. When you hit with a melee attack using the staff, you can cause the staff to emit a crack of thunder, audible out to 300 feet. The target you hit must succeed in a 17 Constitution saving throw or become stunned until the next turn. There's also Lightning Strike, which is a 5 foot wide, 120 foot long strike from the tip. Each creature in that line must make a DC 17 Dexterity save, taking 9d6 lightning damage, or half as much on a successful save. And Thunderclap. You can use an action to cause the staff to issue a deafening thunderclap audible up to 600 feet. Each creature within 600 feet of you, not including you, must do a DC 17 Constitution. On a failed save, takes 2d6 thunder damage and becomes deafened for 1 minute. On a successful. So it's like kind of a souped up. So it's Lightning Strike and Thunderclap are kind of souped up versions. So instead of like with a hit of the staff, it's an action to do it like you're casting a spell. And then the last one is Thunder and Lightning. You can use an action to use the Lightning Strike and Thunderclap properties at the same time. Doing so doesn't expend the daily use of those properties, only the use of this one. So basically, you have 5 properties that you can use in a day. 1 lightning hit from an attack, 1 thunder hit from an attack, or a Thunder and Lightning Strike, or a lightning strike or thunderclap separately. If that makes sense. So you get both.
Yeah.
Then either, and then lesser of each. So lots to do with it. I know you don't do a lot of melee, but you are about to get into a major combat, right? You're going to be in close combat. Do you have staff as a item of proficiency? That's the question.
Yeah, I've got quarterstaff.
Perfect. Then it would be wieldable by you as well. I don't know if that sounds interesting to you or not, because I know you have like lightning bolt and some stuff like that.
Yeah, have those things, but that might be a good backup for. I don't think I'm finding anything else that fits really Zippo. If you can get my own.
Did you mention elemental stuff to Carl when he came in? When you came into him?
Oh yeah, for sure. For sure, I'd have mentioned because he's the most magical person I know.
There is Ring of Elemental Control. There's 4 different types, one for each element. The cheapest one is Fire Elemental Control, and that's 10,000. Water Elemental is 20,000. Now, of course, you may feel a little bit apprehensive about this because it is a control ring, meaning that you would summon and have control over these creatures, but they'd be summoned from the elemental plane, not from this plane. So, Ring of Fire Elemental Control, you can expend 2 of the ring's charges to cast Dominate Monster on a Fire Elemental. In addition, you have... Oh, never mind. So if you... I see. So this is more controlling elementals that... You have an advantage.
Yeah, already here.
Let's see. Yeah. So no, it's kind of different. You can dominate fire elementals or water elementals or earth elementals, and then kind of store them in the ring. Or if you defeat them, you can actually suck them into the ring and use them for energy to cast certain spells. So that's
Yeah.
horrific to you, actually. So never mind.
Yeah.
um, there might be some other ion stones that might be interesting to you. Most of the ion stones are affordable. Um, I would say mastery is on the table still. You just couldn't get a second greater absorption.
Gotcha.
Um, let's see.
Let's see here.
I have one that I'm thinking of, but let me just take a look at it.
Okay.
No, he does not have that one. Don't you worry. I'm not going to tell you what it is.
Yeah.
Aren't you wearing a helm as well that translates um, any language?
No, that's it was a feat I got.
Okay, that's right. Yeah. You could just take the 10,000 if you wanted.
Mhm. That would also not be bad. I do have two questions.
Sure.
Would he have? I imagine he probably won't. But would he have the Helm of Devil Command?
He does not.
Yeah, I figured it'd be a long shot, but wouldn't hurt to ask. Let's see here. Uh, so yeah, if I can get it, I think I'll go with the Staff of Thunder and Lightning.
Okay.
Never hurts to have a backup plan for if someone gets close.
Yeah. Plus, like, you can do a whole line of damage on, like, a group of enemies.
Yeah.
The only problem is the thunder stuff is going to deafen your party if they,
Yeah.
if they don't make the save.
Like, sorry guys.
All right. So you get the rod and the ion stone. Do you activate the ion stone right away or pocket it for now?
I'll pocket it for now.
Okay. There's one other thing before you settle on the staff. Um,
Mhm.
Let me just double check the pricing of it. Never mind. No, you're good. I always like to check prices of what I've written down first before I say anything. This one was 80,000. Nope, no way. That's why it's so cool because it's pricey.
Yeah.
All right.
I don't think old Carl would give me that.
No, unfortunately not. All right, so you kind of have burned a hole in your pocket.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. It's the most gold Zippo's ever seen. It's the most gold he's ever spent.
Yeah, you didn't. There wasn't actually any exchange of money. It was just a kind of a trade system, right? So
Yeah.
you're not even sure if Carl has that amount of gold or not. So,
Fair enough.
but he is a merchant, so maybe.
Yeah, he's probably he's got like a small bank, the bank of Carl he keeps in the back. I suppose very ecstatic.
Or at least static. Being that you have a brand new electrical staff to kind of kit you out.
Gonna be real shocking for the party. Hey, at least Roger will get to use his resistance to lightning and damage.
For sure. Yeah.
But yeah, if once Zippo's finished there, he will just tell Carl all the details he can remember about the orb
Okay.
and like what he's seen. All the pretty much everything he's learned from messing with it, and then he'll reiterate that if Carl does hear or any
Oh, you're breaking up a little bit.
type of
You're still breaking up.
so yeah,
Uh,
he'll reiterate. So
sorry, you're still breaking up. I don't know if it's on my end or yours. Give it one more shot. Nope, I can't.
Hello?
Oh, I hear you now. Hello.
Okay. Hello.
Yes.
Okay. Zippo will just also
Oh, you're breaking up
reiterate to
again.
Carl that if he sees any elementals or hears of any elementals,
Oh, you cleared out again, so you're good. If Carl hears of any elementals or sees any elementals, go ahead.
just have him come speak to me.
So you're looking for elementals, are you?
Yeah, I have a best friend named Atlan. He's kind of like the king of the water elementals. I
Yes.
freed him from the main
From
town.
from Jane, you freed him from the water fountains around the city. I remember
Yep.
hearing tale of you leaving with him at one point. Yes.
Yeah, so I figure elementals pretty cool. I mean, if I can get a couple of them to come help us in the fight, it might help.
How would you transport them to the battle?
Well, they're elementals, so I figure they got their own ways of traveling.
Yes, but I mean, we're going to be teleporting across the continent in a little bit.
Yeah, I figure like it could be one of three ways. I assume since they're elementals, they can shrink, so I could just hide them in my bag of boarding.
Fill um, your bag of holding with water, and then dump them out when you need it.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, that works better than the way I was thinking. Or I figured they might know some elementals that are over there because I'm pretty sure I remember hearing about elementals in Relic. And because I don't know how long elementals live. They might live forever. They might have been before the wall started. Or how they communicate with each other. I speak to them, but I don't know if they can telepathically do anything. But I figured they wouldn't hurt to at least ask.
Water elementals have been around much longer than this plane of existence has. They hail from the primordial realms of fire, water, earth, and air that were used to make up this world once a millennia ago by the gods
Even
themselves.
better. Yeah, maybe they can. Maybe they'll have a way to use something from the other realm to help us.
Well, that's
Figure.
the elementals that you see and whatnot on this plane have come from that realm, usually in the thin places that connect the realms together. Um, Generally speaking, those thin places are in areas of great quantities of that element. So generally, um, you won't see many Earth realm portals on the surface. They'll be underground. Air might be in the sky or in a great height. Fire, a place of great heat. Water, a place of great cold or moisture. Things of that nature.
Yeah, I you know I just Atlan's my best friend, so I figure wouldn't hurt. Although I do think that the rest of the army's not a big fan of it because before I came here on the way here, I told all of them about it. Some of them like they said what I said, but they didn't say it with as much passion as what I had, so I had to tell them again, but with my passion.
Carl chooses his words carefully and says, I'm sure few share the same passion as you in the areas you have great interest in. I find myself that only I care about many of the things that I care about, but I don't care if that's the case or not, because that is what interests me. Do your elementals interest me much? Not really, but I'm being honest with you there, because the only person that matters for is the person whose passion it stems from, and that is you. So, I encourage you to seek out such things, even if others do not share such exuberance for it.
Heck yeah. That's why I want to get this whole demon war thing over, so I can go live with the dragons. Be awesome. Maybe turn into a dragon. Sure, still on that one. And when he
Indeed.
says turn into a dragon, the boy like he's been like playful and like real giddy about everything so far. But as soon as he says turn into a dragon, it's like full dead serious. It's like stared directly at Carl.
Well, I hope they grant you your wish.
Yeah, me too. Oh, out of character, is there any like kobolds in the army?
No.
No, okay. Uh, Zippo will ask Carl about that. Like, I didn't see any more. Not that I'm complaining. I really don't want to see any more kobolds, but I didn't see any of them win the army. They just decide not to, or are they all dead?
Uh, I I wouldn't be able to tell you. The, the Marius just called a draft, and um, various places in the kingdom were able to contribute. But of course, many of the racial clans that keep to their own, such as yours and the orcs, of course, some Knoll families and whatnot, they were not among those who answered the call, I believe. I could be wrong about that. I'm just here to support Marius. I'm not really in charge of much of anything, though he seems to keep pestering me with questions about magic and whatnot. Uh, but yeah, I don't believe there are any kobolds, except for you, of
Okay, good.
course.
Yeah, yeah. I'm not. I don't want to tell the other kobolds about the dragons because then they'll kind of ruin it for all of us.
Oh, how so?
Well, I don't like the other kobolds from my clan, especially, and having them around the dragons, which are amazing, would kind of make me a little upset because I don't like them. And if they come, that'll be less dragon friends for me, and I can't have that. Although I do think you should meet this guy named Pierre, and he transforms into an animal. It's super cool.
Well, many of us can do such a thing. Is he a druid?
No, I think it's just like an innate ability he was born with.
Hmm.
Unlike like not like druid ability wise, it's like one specific animal, and I'm pretty sure it's a lion or a tiger or some big cat because it was in his cave where he was sleeping, and he's a little crazy, but he's super fun.
Yeah, perhaps at one point I might be able to meet such a person.
Yeah, I think for sure whenever this whole war thing is over, if we're all still standing, I think you're gonna have a lot of fun.
Yeah.
There's so many cool magics that I didn't know were a thing. Like Cartholomules, you'll love Cartholomules.
What are those?
You know what a mimic is?
Yes, he says hesitantly.
Uh, uh, they're mimics that mimic carts that you can ride in. They're super fast.
Oh, that sounds
Yeah, they're from the vampire lands.
nice, he says apprehensively.
Yeah, you gotta. If you're not a vampire, you gotta use this like special stuff on you that where they won't eat you. But like if from what the vampire we talked to said, if you train one from like when they're first made, then they're all you gotta do is pretty much beat them into submission, and they won't try to eat you as much. There's also bone dragons
So
or undead dragons,
so
and I'm
before
gonna get one of those
before
one day.
you mentioned the bone dragon, he's like, so you say there's an elixir that can ward off mimics.
Yeah, it kind of makes it to where like when they go to eat you or like whenever you are licked by them or anything, it gives them an awful taste so badly they don't even want to eat you.
Interesting. Now that is something I'd be interested in. I have my own means of travel, of course, as you know. I don't have need
Yeah,
for a wagon mimic. I have my own wagon, but uh, not being eaten by a mimic does sound like something I would like. So I may have to look into this. Now, bone dragons, you say? What, like as in undead dragons, or like dragons that hoard bones, or what?
yeah. Undead dragons, like they're dragons that somehow died. I don't know who killed them, but got to be a better dragon than someone that can kill dragons. But they were brought to life or brought back to life or unlife, however you want to classify undead, as like protectors in the vampire areas. And I whenever this is all settled, I'm gonna go back and meet the vampire queen again. I'm gonna strike me a deal to get me a couple.
Um, so I'm going to scratch out you saying that you instead say whoever is leading Necrata at that point. You're gonna make a deal with them.
Fair. Yeah, that's fair.
just just because of something that you will learn soon. Um, all right.
Gotcha.
So with that being said, Carl says, "So you're back to the subject at hand. You said you were looking for elementals in general, specifically water ones. Atlan, you mentioned. Um, do you know where Atlan last was when you saw him last?"
Not Atlan specifically, but just up the water here, I convened with some other elementals, and I pull out Atlan's gem. Like they let us pass and knew we were friendly because of this gem, which I had five of, but the water took three of them, and I left the fourth one back there to get the water elemental's attention, and I left him a note in Draconic.
And he kind of asks if he can hold it for a second.
Sure, just that's the only one I got, so be careful.
So he kind of half and says, "This is quite a heavy gem." And you said the water picked it up.
Yeah.
It should have sunk to the bottom.
Oh.
It seems like it might have been reacting to something.
Oh. I didn't even think it could do that. Dang, they were so close.
Well, you still have one left, potentially two, if the other one is still there.
Yeah. Do I have enough time though to make it there and back before we have to leave?
I guess there's one way to find
Also,
out.
yeah, and Zippo very excitedly would get the gym back from Carl and kind of run out the door.
Okay. Uh, have fun storming the castle. He chuckles.
Zippo will kind of give him a slight laugh and nod as he's running out, and then he will hop on Brunhild
And make haste.
have a backtrace our pick. Yeah.
Are you going to cross the river again, or are you going to stay on this side?
I'll cross the river again just in case I can pick the other gym back up if it's still there.
Okay. All right. So you make your way as quickly as you can back across the river and down to the area where you carved into the ground. You managed to find the gem with some looking. It's actually further down the river than you thought it might be. Like you don't spot the carvings at first because it's just kind of like messed up earth, right? So it takes you a bit to kind of find the area you were at, but you do find the gem.
Okay. I will pop into the water.
Okay.
Holding out the gem I just found.
Okay.
And kind of start like holding it out to try to let it pull whatever direction it's going to if it does.
Okay. Holding
like
it.
How when I let the other ones go.
So you're not going to let it go. You're just kind of holding it in the water, right?
Yeah. Zippo's going to kind of like he'll kind of like put his hand with it into the water, and then he'll put his other hand like kind of like bracing it, like he's not holding it tightly. He's like letting it follow with the water. Yeah.
Okay. Nice. Okay. So you kind of let it drift, and it kind of sinks to the gravity kind of takes hold, and it sinks to the bottom of your hands as you kind of walk along the water for a bit, right? Something like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and the last direction that the other ones went before I lost sight of them.
Sure. Okay. Can I have a perception check, please? All right. You feel that the gem kind of pick up with the current and press against your hand toward downstream of you.
Okay. Yeah, I'll start following it.
Okay.
And if I'm able to, I'll have Brynhild follow the stream with me. If not,
you're gonna have her be on the shore following you, or like swimming alongside you.
I don't. Does she feel comfortable in the water? She's got like the saddle on. I don't know if it would be weighing her down
not
in the
really.
Water or not.
And if you recall, the last time you were in this river with her, she got swept downstream, and you had to kind of rescue her.
Okay, yeah, I'll have her follow on the bank then.
Okay. And I point that out because that is something you would remember as a character. She got swept 500 feet down. That was like a couple of years ago outside of campaign, though.
Yeah, I got you.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's definitely not something he'd want to happen again because he doesn't have the strong people here to catch her.
Right. Yeah.
So he would definitely have her just follow along the bank.
Okay.
Safely. If he would order, I don't know if she'd listen or not, but he'd order her that if she does run into trouble and he's not immediately around, to run back towards town if possible. Back to the party. I don't know if she would listen, but it would be something he would tell her just as a just in case thing. He doesn't know how far he's going to go into the water, you know?
Right. Okay. So you follow the stone for about 30 minutes, getting further and further downstream. The river widens and deepens more. You kind of let the current take you some and try and keep your footing as best you can by kind of moving closer to the shore as needed. But at sometimes you feel kind of swept up in the current, and you kind of have to paddle to stay above. I'd like you to make a athletics check, please. All right. You manage to stay above the water as you are kind of moving downriver more and more. And eventually, you no longer feel the pull south. You kind of feel the gem kind of swirling in your hand, just in a circle.
Okay. When I feel it swirling, Zipper will kind of go under the water,
Mm-hmm.
and in Aquan, he'd be like, Atlan? And he would kind of look around in the water, seeing if any water. And I know it's not gonna be an easy way to see, but seeing if any water kind of moves, I guess, in a way that he would think an elemental would move.
Mm-hmm.
And, he would just be under there talking for as long as he could. Then he'd come up for breath and go back under.
Sure. Um, Give me a percentage roll, please. Okay, and give me one more. But before you roll it, let me know whether you want high or low.
Okay. Let's see. I'm gonna say hi.
Okay. Zippo.
Atlan, I knew you'd be around. What's up?
And you kind of get swirled up in a whirlpool, and kind of lifted up and placed on shore by a mass of water. You see the great water elemental Atlan kind of appear and stride out of the water beside you, and you see several other entities poking out of the water as well. Other water elementals. Without being able to really count them because they're kind of in the water, you can at least see 10 other shapes.
Awesome. Yeah, Zippo will be very excited. He'd be like, okay, okay, I got my list. So questions do you know of the water elementals that live in the Relic clan? Or in the clans of Relic?
He does not recognize the word relic.
Okay.
So you kind of take that to mean no.
Okay. Zippo will say, I was into a friend and he said that elementals cross through, or some cross through, like where weak points are, kind of like from between the planes. And the mission we're about to go on, we might be sent to a different plane, and I was just wondering if you had any way you could kind of give me hints on if we get trapped over there, how to come back.
In Atlan's language, he kind of relays in a kind of roundabout way that the planes of the elements, while connected to Renovar, also echo Renovar itself. And so
Oh.
basically, they're elemental versions of this plane of existence. They're still part of the material plane, but and this is from the horse's mouth, so I'm telling you it straight. They're basically exactly like the element, this plane of existence, but in that purest of element, right? So you'll see it kind of echo. It like things might look familiar in some aspects, like you might know where you are on this plane when you're there. Kind of like how if you're in the ethereal plane, you're in a state of etherealness, but you can still recognize where you are on the plane. Same with the elemental planes. They're kind of demi planes that echo the material one. That being said, the wall also was echoed there. A third of the plane
Okay.
has recently been uncovered, or the planes are all thirded as well. And if that's the truth, then there are likely other planes that were affected by the wall, and that might also be why. And this is just me connecting some dots for you. He's not kind of theorizing about the wall, but this is just kind of some things that he's communicating that kind of lead you to this conclusion. If the wall affected the elemental plane, then it's likely that it also affected the ethereal plane. And if that's the case, what else did it affect for it to block magic itself? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It seems
It
like,
shouldn't be.
yeah, go ahead.
It'd be like the reason why my master wanted me to take the wall down so that they could reconnect the demon army that was probably split up when the wall went up, so that they could have the power to come over and do what they're doing.
Give me a history check. Or actually, an arcana check. Let's do arcana.
I would like to use my guild inspiration to re-roll that.
You got it.
I would like to use my player inspiration to re-roll that.
Okay.
Are you serious?
Okay. Then I will just say that the inner planes and the outer planes are two different types of realms, right? The inner plane is the material plane. The astral plane is not an echo. They're outside of this side. So the astral sea is its own entity, where other material realms are and things like that, as well as the outer realms. So what you're theorizing has some credit, but you're not sure where that might fail. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Okay, so it's like it could be possible that that was the case, but there's probably
more to it.
Yeah. Yeah.
In other words, I can't elaborate on your theory, but I can tell you that the material plane and the inner and the outer realms are separate entities. So what the wall affected likely didn't affect the outer realms in the same way, but it probably affected them in some way.
Gotcha.
Well, okay. Check is lowered some because of everything you've interacted with the wall, and because also you are the wall breaker, right? You broke the wall, so
yeah. Yeah. Out of character looking back, that might have been not the best choice.
But here we are.
In character, amazing choice. Yeah, Zippo will kind of take note of that. He definitely is going to mention that to the party. He will definitely ask Atlan too. Like, I know you probably don't know, but are there any other elementals on, or the other types of elementals in Seregen. I haven't ran into any other than you guys. And I just wanted to figure out because where we're going, I'm trying to get as much knowledge and information as possible. And I didn't know if maybe like the air or the fire or the earth elementals might have different descriptions or different ways that they might be able to assist and give me, some kind of like, oh well, I hit a demon with this one time type information.
There are many of this kind, but where I do not know.
Gotcha. Oh, and I don't want to. I just want to let you know that way we don't disturb you. We are moving a pretty big army. You probably already could tell from the water up the way. So just I don't want you to. I just want to let you rest peacefully. That way you don't got to hear all them crossing the makeshift boat bridge. But I don't think they're going to cross completely because of teleportation hijinks.
Okay. So he kind of acknowledges this and doesn't use words to acknowledge it.
Gotcha. Zip will he will ask. He'll be like, so I assume with all the new water that's appeared, you guys are probably having a pretty good little kingdom going on.
We are displaced.
Mm. Is there a spot you guys normally hang out?
Queen of Brambles, thank you for the raid. Welcome in, everyone. Hope you had a great stream. The rivers are in flux. The mines of jewel fill. We have traveled away for the madness that has washed in from the east.
You said madness was washed in from the east?
He nods.
What kind of madness?
The water is tainted. It does not support my kind.
Oh, the anti-magic water.
He shrugs.
Yeah, there was some water when we got near it, and we were in the vampire lands that canceled like all magical effects, and like I think even when I drank some of it, I couldn't use magic for a minute.
Give me a history check on that one. That was in Relic. That was before the council. Okay. So actually, if you look at the map and go all the way over, the area where the anti-magic was is actually circled in like a brown color south of Saraseta. It's to the left of the spine of mountains. To the left of the tear, if you see it.
Okay, yeah. Zippo will still say that, but then he'll be like, "Oh no, that was in Relic. Actually, never mind." That's interesting. Hopefully, once we solve this demon problem, if I'm living, I'll go speak to whatever is ruling the vampire lands, and maybe we can figure out a way to fix that for you.
Tell me of your journeys, Zippo.
Yeah, I know Zippo will pretty much.
What are you up to these days?
Yeah, Zippo will pretty much from like the last point he talked at one all the way up to now. We'll just tell him what he can remember. Okay. Highlighting the dragons, fighting some of the demons, Cartholomew and the Bone Dragons,
Mm-hmm.
and meeting the genie.
Okay. Is there anything that you're looking to kind of talk to Atlan about, or is it more kind of a reconnecting and then going?
Given that he doesn't know of the elementals because the wall was there for them in their plane,
Mm-hmm.
I feel like he'd just be kind of reminiscing, and then he would say that next time he's in Seregen, he'll meet up with them if he can find out where they're at, and hopefully he can solve the issue for the water for them. And then he'll just kind of head back, hopefully with this new knowledge to relay to the party.
We travel upriver, away from the stream.
Yeah, I'll let them know since they're going upriver. I imagine they probably already know, but since they're going upriver, they'll probably end up having to go through Licht, and that place is hectic and noisy. I don't imagine they'll beat through it very fast or very slowly. I figure they'll go pretty fast, but people there are weird and odd.
Should their oddity interact, we shall dampen their spirits. He bubbles. It seems to be he's laughing.
Okay. Yeah, Zippo will laugh as well with him. And then Zippo will say, well, I should probably get back so I can finish my last little preparations before this war. It was amazing to see you again, Atlan. And he'll wave to the other water elementals. But you guys too, you're all awesome.
The others kind of watch you and haven't really interacted with you much, just kind of watching the interaction take place. Kind of like fish looking out at people at an aquarium, right? Like,
yeah,
there's not really like they understand the words both of you are speaking, but they don't have any motivation to interact or contribute. Atlan himself once again kind of enfolds you in the water that makes up him, right? He kind of washes over you, picks you up as you kind of swirl around a bit, and then he puts you back down and washes back down into the river. With another bubbly chuckle, he wishes you goodbye and sinks back into the river.
Like Zippo very excitedly also says, see you later. And then gets back on Bird Hill and rides back towards town.
Okay. Are you riding to the guild?
Yeah.
Okay. So being that it's midnight, I will kind of at this point, kind of, especially since we don't have our guild master here in the stream with us tonight.
Yeah.
I will say that you get back to the guild, and you see Marius leaving.
Okay. Yeah, Zippo kind of ignores him and walks by.
Okay. Inside, things are fairly tense. It looks like Marius. Oh, you don't really care about Marius, so I won't even describe what he looked like as he was leaving. But everyone seems kind of like tense, but like also kind of like easing out of that tenseness some as you enter. It's fairly quiet in the tavern.
Yeah. Do I see the party members? anywhere in the tavern, or are they all gone to bed?
There's nobody present at current in that you recognize from your party.
Okay, yeah. I assume the what was the gnome's name?
Gideon.
Gideon. Yeah, I assume Gideon is setting up front,
It's
or
actually
I
his
think it's his
sister.
sister.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Zippo will run up to his sister, and he'll be like, since we're leaving tomorrow, could you get word to I think it's Dara that runs Licked, and let him know that some water elementals will be passing by through the water, and as long as they're not bothered or harmed anyway, they won't bother anybody in the town.
I can try. She says. She actually again kind of seems excited to see you and compliments your new staff that you're holding.
Oh yeah, this is pretty great. I'm gonna name it the Demon Beater. That's what it's gonna be used for whenever we go to this war.
She says that she says, I see that you've had a bath and you've cleaned up well, very awkwardly.
I'll Zippo will be like, oh yeah, this was from Atlan, the water elemental. He's the king of water elementals technically, and yeah, I was chatting with him before I came back, and he kind of he gave me a hug, and that's why I'm cleaned.
Okay. You can see visibly that she has started blushing at how she said that and says, I'm so sorry, I didn't mean it that way. Uh, just forget it. And she kind of goes quiet again as she's stammering.
Zippo kind of looks at her and goes, okay. If the rest of my is the guildmaster in or
Yeah, Guildmaster is currently in the hall at the moment. He was kind of facing the door as you came in. So yeah, he's
okay,
plainly visible, Wolfgang. Um,
yeah,
and he's in human form at the moment.
okay. Does he look approachable, or does he look like he's like deep in thought?
Do you care?
Not really. Zippo will walk up to him and be like, before we leave, I just wanted to check and see if that necklace is in. If not, it's cool. I can leave her in the bag of boarding. But, I just want to make sure she's safe whenever I go into this fight.
He grunts and he says, he basically, I'm not going to even try to do an Australian accent because I can't. There's a reason why I let him do it.
Yeah.
I tried for a while. I'm like, this is not working, so I'm not even gonna embarrass myself. But yeah, he after kind of a moment of kind of slowly coming back to it, he says, of course, yes, it's ready as promised, and he takes you back to his office and he hands you the necklace. It's been restored in a swirling pattern, just like before, but it's also different in that it has a Z and a B kind of etched into it over and over again in its pattern. Whether that's Zippo and Brunhild, Cyberpunk abbreviation or whatnot, it seems to be throughout the entirety of the ornament.
Gotcha. Yeah, Zippo will also relay the same information about the water elementals
Okay.
going through town and ask if he could. I know he doesn't like Dara, but if he could relay that so that nobody attacks or gets attacked by them, would be great.
He says as well that he'll see what he can do, but there's probably not going to be much interference fairly shortly with the army leaving today.
Yeah. Yeah, Zippo just was he'll tell him like I just wanted to make sure I'm really big friends with the water elementals, and I didn't want them to be hurt by the people that live here.
Makes sense.
And then I think do I owe him anything else for that, or I don't remember if I paid him or not. I think I paid half.
Yeah, I think you paid half as well. Let me check my notes. Campaign summaries. Okay. It's probably going to be Amulet. I don't have that note yet because I didn't get that far in my summaries. So we'll say that you pay the other half. How much gold do you have left?
750 pieces.
Okay. All right. I will confer with our guild master and make sure that that is taken out of your sheet.
Okay. All right. Yeah. After that, I think Zippo would just go relax in his bed, admiring all his new items.
Okay. Awesome. And that is where we will leave you for tonight. That being said, you have not slept, so you probably are going to sleep, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay. You might have, I would say you've spent pretty much the entire night doing stuff. It is probably early morning at this point, maybe 5. So you're going to at least get a short rest. That being said, yesterday you didn't spend too many spells, I believe.
Yeah, I don't spend any at all. I don't think I spent any yesterday.
Yeah, so I mean that's not going to matter too much. You're likely to have some exhaustion already at the end of the battle if it's a long one. It's probably not going to matter too much that you didn't get too much rest, but also because it's going to probably take several days to get fully traveled across, right? So I wouldn't worry about it too much. You'll get your rest when you need it. But I think an excellent session, a lot of good things to kind of set you up for the battle, as well as a bit of lore to kind of contextualize a few things. It is unfortunate that you got such low rolls in the re-rolls, but I think you got a little bit of info there to kind of help with things. But ultimately, you got to reunite with Atlan, and that's something that you've been wanting to do for quite a long time. So excellent work there. There was definitely a chance that you weren't going to see him at all. So good thing that you asked the right questions with Carl, and then did the right thing back in the river. So before we go, anything else that you'd like to mention or any questions that you have?
No, I think that's pretty much it.
Okay, awesome. All right. Well, then I will consider your plot before the final battle to be concluded. And there is quite a few things left, but excellent work. Had a lot of fun. Hope you did too.
It was great. I got all the things I needed.
I'm looking forward to see what you do with some of these items.
It's gonna be great whenever I accidentally kill a party with the staff.
Oh God, yeah. We'll see. I guess we'll see. I mean, Roger did get immunity to electricity on purpose, right? So
yeah,
he's never had to use it.
Prepared.
Right. All right. Well, folks, we will see you tomorrow for our next one shot, which will be at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. But until then, be safe, be well, be excellent, and have a great night. Thanks, everyone. And thank you, Zippo.
Thank you.
Bye.